you convinced me that we haven't enough time to wait for that social movement strategy to pay off. So what is the other strategy? Well, I'll use a word that Phyllis used yesterday. It's infiltrating at the very centers of power. At the very centers of power, which are not members of Parliament. I wish they were centers of power, but I can tell you, they are not. The centers, we heard a little bit about center power when Tim talked about where he has been trying to score properly in the United Kingdom. Centers of power here are basically in prime minister's offices and premier's offices. And you have to do research to find out who are in those offices and whether you know their next door neighbor or you play bridge with one of their aunts or your kids on, mentioning to Adele, the same basketball team as the secretary to the cabinet. You've got to do that as well as you do your environmental research. It's researchable. And you may have to get some political scientists to help you do the research. Find out who the key people are. I mean, right now, our government has to make a decision on offshore drilling, and you've seen where Mr. Prentice is. You should have people who can tell you how to have, I don't know, a hike on the holiday weekend with Mr. Prentice's daughter, who I do know is a law student. You've got to do it that way. You've got to be ruthless about it and extremely smart about it. And we don't have time. It's not pleasant work, and you've got to hold your nose often because you've got to be close to people you're not going to like, and you're not going to like their bosses. I mean, their bosses stink. But they have their hands on the levers of power. And we haven't got time for us just to stick out our tongues at them and say they stink. Because they're going to keep winning elections for a while. And so I want to encourage you to think of this other strategy. It's sneaky, and it's not fun, it's hard work, it has to be done using political intelligence and all kinds of false behavior, I'll admit that, phony behavior, charm, but if we don't do it, we're not going to score in the right place.